Hey everybody, it's Mark Johnson, the Guaranteed Rate, and just grateful to have you tune in this morning as I talk about my Thursday thoughts on real estate and mortgages and just the economy in general. I had one of my great real estate agents call me yesterday and said, "Hey, I heard that interest rates stayed the same," and because the Federal Reserve met yesterday and they kept interest rates the same, but the interest rate that the Federal Reserve announced yesterday, and I know a lot of you heard this on the news yesterday, is the rate that the Federal Reserve charges to the banks, and it's not the rate that they charge to mortgage purchasers. Like if you're buying a home, that is not your interest rate. And there's a disconnect there, and everybody thinks it's the same. In reality, interest rates went up twice yesterday because of the volatility in the market. And so it's important to know exactly how rates and are affected by the Federal Reserve, by the stock market, and just by the economy. And so I'm going to take a deep dive next Thursday. So tune in next Thursday. We're going to talk about, rates and how they move and how they're priced and how you as a consumer will know, how you're getting your rate from your lender and why one lender will quote one rate, another lender will quote another one. And so we'll go into a deep dive next week. But this week, my Thursday thoughts are about investing in real estate. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I had a really good friend and a borrower of mine who called me up and said, "Hey, I want to invest in real estate. Should I do it? And what's it going to take? And how can I do it? And where can I come up with the money? Can I refinance my house and pull cash out to buy, a 2 to 4 unit rental, or do I need to buy a single family?" He had all these questions. And so I thought I would just take a few minutes and just answer some of the questions that he had with you here on my Facebook Live video today. So first of all, the big question that people always talk about, right, is how much down am I going to need to have? I hear I'm going to need to have a big, huge down payment. Well, a big, huge down payment is relative depending on whether or not you put a big, huge down payment on your home. So generally, most investors want to have anywhere from 15 to 25% as a down payment. Obviously, when you're investing in real estate as an investment vehicle, generally you want to get the lowest amount that you have to invest into that real estate. But I will tell you the sweet spot's probably around 20%. And if you do have that extra 5%, it's going to save you a lot on the interest rate, which over time, accrues quite a bit of interest on that. So the 15% down loans are available. There's nothing less than that right now on the market under standard financing. I'm sure there's some investors out there that will do less than 15%, but you're going to pay quite a premium in interest rates. A lot of people ask me, "Hey, what about if I were to just keep my current home and buy a new home? Could I use my current home as an investment property and not get killed when I go to buy my new home?" And the answer is yes. So I have another client right now that she's looking at purchasing another home for them to live in, and that way they won't have to come up with a big, huge down payment. They would only need to come up with 5% down on the new home, and then they would be able to rent the home that they're currently in, and they'll be able to use up to 75% of the income or the rental agreement that they've agreed on with a potential renter. They would have to have it rented before they closed, but they could use up to 75% of that rental income not to exceed the total monthly payment of the house so that it wouldn't count a double payment against them. A lot of people are asking me this question too. It's like, I don't know if I want to be a landlord, and I totally get it. Like, I do not want to be a landlord. I've been a landlord, and I've painted a lot of houses and fixed them up. But the good news is that today there are a lot of companies that will take the properties that you invest in, and they will manage that for you professionally. That way you're not getting a call at 2 a.m. saying, "Hey, my toilet's leaking all over my house," and you have to get up and go change it and fix it and stuff like that. So anyway, and they charge a modest fee, and sometimes it's well worth having somebody else manage that if you're not into like home repairs, for instance, or you just don't want to have the hassle in your life of taking care of that. So let's talk about rates, payments, and income a little bit more here. One of the things that I would say is that yes, the rates are going to be anywhere from 0.5 to 0.75% higher than your best owner-occupied home rate. And so yes, you're going to pay a premium in the interest for that investment property, but that's still not a lot higher than your owner-occupied loans when we're looking at investments. And I'm going to show you how this can be very lucrative to you as a buyer of investment properties here in just a few minutes. One of the house or the rent is not high enough to cover the monthly payment on that home. Is it still worth it for me to buy an investment property? So in other words, your payment, let's just say, is $2,100 on this investment property, but you can only get a rental agreement signed for like $1,900, and you have a $200 a month deficit there, and that's going to cost you $200 a month every single month. Now, yes, it will, but there's some ways around that so that you can still have a positive cash flow. For instance, one of the things that a lot of people forget about is that you're going to have a huge tax write-off by owning investment properties. You're going to be able to deduct the interest on that. You're going to be able to have some depreciation that you don't have on your current home, and so there's a lot of advantages. I would talk to an accountant, that understands this and will help you, guide you to say, okay, if I'm investing in this kind of a home, this is the amount of tax write-off I'm going to be, and maybe I can raise my deductions, to cover that $200 deficit. So that's one thing that you can look at in making sure that, yes, I can afford the house and my monthly cash flow can afford it because I'm going to take a higher deduction and make $200 more a month in my gross income so that I don't have to have a negative income flow on that property. Is real estate a good investment vehicle? A lot of people right now are talking about a bubble still, or that it's too expensive to invest in real estate. I'm going to wait. I'm going to be on the sidewalks. A dear friend of mine the other day said, hey, I made so much money on my condo, and over $100,000 from the time that I bought it to now, and so I'm just going to rent for a while because it's too expensive to invest in real estate. Well, honestly, what we've seen, and I've done this video a couple of weeks ago where I talked about, are we in a housing bubble? Today, I still don't think we're going to see a housing bubble, especially right here in Salt Lake and the Wasatch Front, or really across the nation. So no matter where you're looking at buying, and some areas are a little cheaper than others, but I think that real estate is really a great, secure investment. You have to look at it in a long-term scenario too as well. And so a lot of people say, well, what about the stock market, or what about other investment vehicles? I'm going to kind of just go through a few of those things too as well. But let's talk about the benefits really quick about investing in some rental properties. First of all, the income is considered passive income. Now, you've probably heard of this term, but maybe don't quite understand exactly what passive income is. And what passive income means is that you invest in something that pays you without you having to keep on, spending a lot of time with it. So unlike a job where you go at 9 o'clock in the morning, you come home at 5 o'clock in the evening, or in my case, I come early and go late. Anyway, whatever that is, I spend a lot of time in my income generating daily business. But in a passive income, you might spend a little bit of time here and then no time for a long time, and then you spend a little bit of time over there. That's what's called passive income. So you're making money even though you're not working on that part of your business. And so it's a great way to increase passive income. The other thing too that you need to consider is that over a long period of time, you're going to have appreciation in value. And so let's just say that over the next 5 years, as we know, last year, values went up anywhere from 18 to 20%, depending on where you own real estate. But since 2006, home values have gone up, they've never gone down, believe it or not. Even when we had the huge decreases, we still had appreciation in home values that made people thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on the real estate that they owned way back then, and now are just able to cash out there. And speaking about that, well, let me finish this. The other thing too is that you can put, and this is something that I didn't realize until I was just looking for some information to share with you here. You can put your investment properties into a self-directed IRA, and that way you can have deferred tax savings. Again, you want to get with your accountant to go over that. The other thing that we talked about just for briefly is that the interest is tax deductible, and of course you've got the depreciation write-off. And so again, talk to your accountant, and he will be able to tell you if you invest in this kind of a property, this is what you can kind of look at, and this is how you calculate this, and then just give you a rough idea of how that works there. The last thing is that people are going, well, where do I come up with this 20% down kind of a thing? And of course, right now, almost everybody has a ton of equity in their home. And so doing a cash out refinance to invest in real estate makes a lot of sense because interest rates are still low on your personal property. And then you can take that money that you receive as a cash out. And I wanted to just share one of the strategies that I used with my good friend and show you kind of how that works. Let me just see if I can share the screen because that'll make a lot. Let's see. I don't know if it'll let me share the screen. I've tried to do this another time too, and maybe I think I have to start off with sharing the screen, but so it doesn't look like you can do that right now. So, but let me just give you the example here. So I've got a friend of mine, and he's pulling cash out, and the payment is going to increase on his house, and he's going to use that to invest in a 4-unit property, and it's going to be right around $800,000. His loan amount's going to be at 704. He's going to put 20% down, and basically what he's going to do is he's going to and he's going to get a positive cash flow on this property, and that positive cash flow, we calculated that out, and I believe that okay, here it is. It's $448 basically. Is that correct? And he's going to invest that property, that amount into his no, that's not the amount. Let me see here. His reinvestment on this was, yeah, I think it was $448. And so what he could do with that extra money is he could save it up to purchase another investment property down the road, and replenish his savings with that. Or he could take that and he could reinvest that money into paying off his current house faster. So he takes out a 30-year loan today, and he invests that $448 a month. And we calculated this out. He would have a break-even point. In other words, he would be able to pay his house off in 12.5 years. And so for him, and his wife just really loves this because she's scared of getting into more debt. But if they go in and reinvest this into the principal of their current mortgage, again, that freedom point was 12.5 years. The next thing that they could do is just reinvest it in savings so they can build up their savings and buy other rental properties. And what we did was we looked at this and said, okay, over the next 15 years, how much would that be in your account if you took that? Even in like savings, you can't hardly make any money in like 0.5%. But in 15 years, we look at it at a 15-year point because he's looking at retiring maybe in about 15 years, right? If he just put that in a savings account, he would make $495,000. So $495,236,000 would be what that money would be worth at that time and at the end of 15 years. The other thing that he could do is he could take that and move that into a new investment, such as a stock fund. Maybe that's making 6%, something like that. If he were to do that, he would earn over the 15-year period somewhere around $770,000. So that's quite a bit of money too. Obviously, the most amount of money that he would make obviously would be just keep on rolling that over and investing in real estate. But for the peace of mind for his wife, he's going to take that extra money and he's just going to put that into paying off that house first, and then he'll and maybe down the road they'll decide to do something else. Anyway, I just wanted to share a few thoughts with you today on Thursday to what I have about investing in real estate. I think it's a great investment vehicle. It's safe, it's secure. The other thing is it's tangible, like you can touch it, where you can't really do that, with maybe a stock fund or something like that. Anyway, have a great day. If you have any questions and want to get more information, just give me a holler, either DM me here or give me a call, or you can apply online at my website, which is www.rate.com /Mark, M-E-R-C, Johnson. All right, thanks a lot.